Hey everybody, this is Tamara Moultrie here. I am really excited about this training. I want to apologize for those of you who weren't able to make it live. We did have some recording issues. So because of that, I am actually re-recording this for all of you in hopes of getting all the information to all of you because this is absolutely mind-blowing. So what I'm going to do is just start out and just introduce myself a little bit. For those of you who don't know me, most of you probably do, but I co-manage the Tenacity Limitless team page, and I have been a leader with Jamberry for the last 2 years and a consultant for a little bit longer than 2 years. So a couple days ago, we had an executive call. And on that call, we actually had the privilege of having Matt Hoffman speak to us regarding pipelines. Many of us on the call had actually used a pretty generic system that was similar to this, but never to this extent. So much so that it actually made more than just sense. It actually very quickly became the only way to run our businesses from that point on, just from that call. And we not only revamped our own personal businesses, but we actually want to get that information out to all of you so that you have that information for your businesses as well. So the first thing I want to touch on is why customer service and organization in general is just important. For those who know me well, you know that I'm an organizational guru, not just with my business, but also just with my life in general. Benjamin Franklin actually stated, for every minute spent organizing, an hour is earned. And I have found that to be very, very true in my life. One of the biggest pushbacks that I have seen and felt with different people in my life and even with team members is that the biggest misconception or theory or reason that we organize, people think that it's so that we can become perfect or to actually be viewed as such. And it's very much not that way. There's a book called 100 Easy Ways to Start Living an Organized Life Without Getting Overwhelmed or Stuck. And that book actually states being organized is not about being perfect. It's about customizing your whole world to work for you. And that is so extremely true. And personally, I would just add to that it saves you on time and it actually lessens your stress load. It's absolutely not about being perfect, ladies. It's about being efficient with your time so that you can spend more time doing the things that you really, really love to do. And organizing your customer base is going to result in more sales, more referrals, more recruits, and more loyal customers. And that means more money for you. So why am I doing this training? So, and some of you might be wondering that, you know, why didn't I just throw information on the team page and just leave it at that? Well, why did I think it was so important that I actually set up an actual training event to go live with you to show you this amazing system and how to implement it? I'm pretty sure, you guys, that it's because I'm super bored. Like I have like nothing to do. And I have to find something to fill my time. You guys know that's not true, right? It's so not true. Okay, so now that I've made a little joke, okay, so we all know that that's not the reason I did this. The reason that I did this is because I feel so strongly about this program and I honestly feel that this is the answer to what is lacking in so many of our businesses. And I want to make sure that you can see it, understand it, and then you feel confident walking away from this video or live training with a pep in your step and a light into what will be a breakthrough with your follow-up and your customer service to ensure that you retain the customers that you already have, that you can get new customers, and that you can turn all of those customers into loyal customers or team members. So now that we kind of have a practical reason for wanting to be better organized in our businesses and our customer follow-up to make sure that things don't get missed, why don't we just go ahead and just jump right in to the topic of pipeline training. Okay, so why a pipeline? Why is a pipeline efficient? Why does it work? Well, it works, number one, because it's a foolproof system that gives you actual facts. facts on what contacts you are converting into sales, hostesses, loyal customers, versus giving like educated guesses. As human beings, you guys, we just forget things. We all do. So making guesses on our businesses in terms of who we are converting and how and when isn't necessarily going to give us the information that we need to learn where we need to improve, so that we can get our goals actually accomplished, and so that we can actually set some smart goals within what we want to do with our businesses. The other thing is that a pipeline confirms personal strengths as well as weaknesses that we have. Sometimes looking at weaknesses isn't something that we technically want to do, right? We think that we did something wrong or bad, or that we're not good at something. And again, you guys, we're human. There is nobody out there that doesn't have a weakness. We have to know where we struggle so that we can become better, improve those weaknesses, and, you know, after some effort, hopefully turn those into some strengths. By looking at your pipeline, it allows you to see where you are converting your customers. You know, are you really good at introducing the product? Are you really good at booking that party? Are you really good at turning those into team members? You know, whatever the case may be, it's going to show you those numbers. A pipeline also helps you balance your time spent on follow-up while also not leaving anybody behind. And also, have you guys ever ran across a name on like a party slip or contact form, etc., and thought, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to call them? Shoot, right? How many of you are nodding your heads right now? Like, yep, I've done that. I forgot to follow up on an order. I forgot to follow up on that party. Okay, there's always things that we can forget to follow up on. And with a pipeline, that won't happen because you are so organized. So what type of a system should you use? You can use a pipeline system no matter what type of systems work best for you. And that's what I love so much about this system. This isn't if you like pen and paper, this only works for you. If you like internet type things, that this works only for you. This will work for anybody. This method works for everyone depending on what your personality style is and what helps you the most. So it's up to you to determine what type of system that you use. However, I will tell you that when you find the method that works best for you, implementing that and using it is going to be a game changer for your businesses. Okay, so the other thing is that with the online system, I'm actually just going to show you live in just a minute how you can use that. But you can actually use that, again, the same idea in like a paper and pen method. One of those methods is actually going to be pictured here in a little bit, which I'm going to show you. Don't let any of this confuse you. We're going to be getting into details of this very, very shortly. You can also use a binder system with tabs. So if you just want to get a regular 3-ring binder and have a customer contact form with information, you can use different tabs with different categories, which we'll get into as well. Or you can even use a recipe box and use note cards for each of your customers with that information on it. So now that we have you thinking in the back of your mind about different methods that you can use, I am going to jump in and actually show you how it actually all works. So how do you actually implement your system? First, we have a couple tips. And the first is never leave anyone out of your system. You guys, don't ever leave anyone out. Everyone wants to be a part of your pipeline because you're awesome, right? Don't leave anyone out. Also, movement from one category to another should always be brought on by a yes, no deliverable. Okay, what that means is that you, in order to move a customer from the top of your pipeline down through the different categories, you have to be able to answer a question with a yes in order to move. This isn't a yes from you, it is a yes from the customer. So just as an example, I'm going to show you here, we'll go through this, is here's your pipeline. And so here's your top category. It's people you know or people that you've come in contact with. Okay, now it says right here, the question that you need to ask yourself is, have I talked to this person about Jamberry? Yes. Move to the next section. Boom, there they are. Talk to about Jamberry. So did they agree to host? Move to the next section. Okay, agreed to host a party right here. Is the party set up? Have I mentioned the Kit credit and started hostess coaching? Move to the next section. So that's kind of how it works. In order to move them through this pipeline, and that's the goal, is to move everyone through the pipeline. That's always the goal. You need to be able to say yes to these questions, to the question that's over here. The other thing is to work from the bottom upward when it comes to your correspondence or your follow-up times, is to how much time you're actually spending with them. So what that means, you guys, that does not mean to focus all of your time on the very bottom category, because when you do that, what's going to happen is that you are going to be just rocking it for like a few weeks, and then all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, shoot, I don't have anything on my books. And then you're going to need to go back and, again, people I know, talk to people about Jamberry. So you always want to be moving people through. You need to make sure that you budget your time well with that. So paper and pen methods. There's a couple different ways that you can actually do this, and it's up to you as to what you feel works best for you. The pipeline is a way for you to actually just keep everything organized. That doesn't mean that you have to use Post-it notes. That doesn't mean that you have to use, any of these ideas that I'm actually going to throw at you, but do what's best for you. Do what is going to keep you consistent. So I have some ideas, and this is just a picture right here of something that someone posted, and I love this. I love how organized that it is. So this person just put Post-its on a window in her office, and she has the categories up here, and then she has the Post-it notes with the customer's name on it so that she knows right here how to move them through her pipeline. You can create, again, you could do this on a window, you can have a wall, a cork board, a whiteboard, however you want to do it. You can also print out that pipeline image. I have this on the, I will have this on the team page here pretty soon. Let's go back. This right here, just this section. Okay, I actually have that in just an image. And so we can actually get that so that you can print that, maybe put it in some glass and use some dry erase markers to like write people's names if you want, or just use the Post-it notes, the smaller ones. You can also use tabs in a binder. So I like this concept. For me, that's kind of, if I use a paper and pen method, that's probably what I would use because it makes sense with my personality in mind. So what you would do in that case is just to have a binder. And again, the tabs in the binder are going to represent your different categories. And then you would have like a customer contact sheet in there with all their information, parties they posted, things like that. And then you can also do like a recipe card box and organize them in a recipe box. And that's something that a lot of people actually implement right there, and then just have tabs separating the different subjects. So if you're a paper and pen kind of person, then this is definitely for you. And then we have an online method, and that is Trello. I am so excited about this. This is the method that I personally am going to be using. And so what I'm going to do is I am actually going to walk you guys through Trello to see how it's done and how it actually works. So I'm going to just swap screens here. Let's see. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, this is just taking 2 seconds here. That's going to be right here. Okay, so we have right here your actual Trello account. So here we have, it just says boards. So what I like to call Trello is, this is Pinterest on steroids. That's what Trello is. It's like a online filing cabinet with unlimited resources. And I love, you guys, it's free. Free, 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 free. They also have an app. So no matter where you're at, you can be using this. So what you're gonna do, I actually just have a customer care board. And so here you go. You have people I know. Present to Jamberry, given samples, order follow-up, agreed to host, party setup, and then the list goes on and on. So I'm going to give you an example here. I am going to add a card, and I'm just going to put my name on it, okay? It's that simple. All you do is just type it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this card. Now, if you are a color coordination type of person, then what you are going to want to do is you can actually label it, and you can color code the heck out of these things if you want to. It not only makes it pretty, but it will, it can help keep you organized if you are a, let's see, we'll just do green on this one, okay? And then what it's going to do is it's going to put it as green. So if you want to use different colors for different things, you can do that. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to add a comment. And I'm going to put purchased delicate, and then I'm going to put like deluxe toolkit. Okay, so I'm going to put that and then just put send. Okay, what that does is that puts it down into my activity with my notes. So when I go back to actually follow up with this person, that's in there. I already have the notes as to what they purchased, so that you don't have to go in and log onto your dashboard. You can put their mailing address if you want to just send them a goodie or whatever the case might be. But this will allow you to actually take notes. If you have a customer that, here's a great example. So if you have a customer that you see that's possibly on Facebook and she posts something about maybe a child going into the hospital or something like that, you can put a comment that just said, messaged on Facebook, or you can put message from Facebook and copy and paste the message so that you have those notes. Just your condolences, let me know if you need anything, and maybe just send her, you know, a little thing in the mail or whatever, and then put notes about that. But let's say you just want to follow up, okay? You can have a due date right here. And let's say I'm going to follow up with her on Friday. Okay, and I'm going to save that. And then that's going to tell me when I open that up, I'm going to go, oh my gosh, I wonder how her daughter's doing. And that way I can just pull that up and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. How's your little girl doing? How are you holding up? That type of thing. And you're going to remember. You're going to remember to do it because you have an alarm set on the system that's going to tell you that you need to follow up with that person. The other thing that you can do is you can even put checklists in here. Okay, so your title of your checklist, let's just say that you can put like hostess coaching. Okay. So with your hostess coaching, you're going to have packet delivered. Okay. There's your first item. You're going to have phone call. You're going to have RSVP follow-up. You're going to have invitations delivered. Okay, these are just some thoughts off the top of my head. And so as these things are done, you can actually just mark them off right here. Okay, so that you know what's actually done with that checklist that you are coaching your hostess on. Now, the other thing is that you can put attachments. So if you want a Google Drive document, a Dropbox document, your OneDrive, you can have a link and you can just attach that to here. So no matter what, you can put any information that you're going to need for follow-up with your customers in here, and it's all in one place. You're never going to run out of room to write. And then if you're ever done with a card, you can simply delete it, which I'll show you in a minute. But see, I have right here, I have that this is green, and I have an alarm set for April 22nd. I can see that I have one note or one comment in here, so that I can scroll in and actually look at that comment right here. And the other thing is that this is just people I know. So right here, now if I'm doing hostess coaching, that means that this person has agreed to host. The party is set up and I'm started hostess coaching. Okay, so I'm going to move them. It's very easy to move people from one column to another. Very, very, very simple. I just barely set mine up. As you can see during the training, I had random names kind of put in here. But that's how easy it is. To archive something, you're simply going to, if you ever want to get rid of it, you're going to simply just press archive. And you can even copy if you guys want to copy a card. So if you want to keep different categories and you want, where you can have multiple names. And here's the other tip that I have for you that we actually didn't cover in the live portion is that if you have somebody who, let's say you have a VIP customer. In fact, I have one here, a VIP customer who just decided to host another party. You can easily just move them over here. You're typically going to know your VIPs, and then again, you'll kind of just work them down the system and then back into your VIPs, or you can actually copy the card and then put it in there, and then you can retire that card when it's done. So however you want to do that, for me, I would rather keep everything just in one place and just put notes in here as to see, it tells me like where I moved it and everything else. And then to archive something, I'm going to come up here and actually, I don't need these. So I'm going to archive this and then I'm just going to delete it. Okay, and it's that simple. So as you use this, you know exactly who you need to follow up with. You can have, like, there's notifications up here to tell you what you need to do. The one thing that I would recommend in a way to actually keep organized with the system is if you know that you do follow up on certain days of the week, I would set your alarms for those days. So as an example, if you do customer follow up on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're going to only set alarms for Tuesdays or Thursdays in that so that you don't miss something. If you do miss something, it will show you as overdue. And you'll get an alarm for that. It'll actually go red. So in fact, we can show you what that looks like really fast. Let's do an alarm here, due date. And we're gonna do this. And then the time, I'm just gonna put for in 1 minute so that it, let's see, 39 p.m. save. Okay, so now I set an alarm for that. I'm gonna cut that out and you can see that this alarm right here, it's gonna show, it's actually gonna show an alarm right there. And then when it expires, it's actually gonna go red. So that's kind of how Trello works. It's really easy to maneuver, and like I told you, they have an app. And one thing that I really love about the app is that it makes it very user friendly. You guys see how easy it is to add a card. Okay, when you're out in the grocery store and you have somebody say, "Hey, I love your nails," you can then say, "Oh, well, great, thanks." Have that conversation with them. You can introduce the product to them. You can offer to send them some samples, get their information, put that in Trello, and then set a date for follow-up. Bam, you have their information right there, and it's easy for you to follow up. So I hope that this training actually works. I hope that this works out really well for you guys and that you find some kind of system within pipeline training to actually make your customer follow-up a little extra special. And honestly, you are going to look like you have it all together. I can promise you that, because you will never forget anything, and you will be able to stay on top of your customers and the follow-ups, the appointments that you make, everything. So let me know if you guys have questions, but I'm really excited to see how all of this implements, how you implement all this into your businesses. Thanks, guys. We'll talk with you later.